My name is Rachel Chanette. I use she, her, hers pronouns, and I'm one of the assistant directors here in the Office of Admissions. It is my pleasure to welcome you to today's session. First things first, 4 tips for first generation college goers as a first generation graduate myself. I'm so pleased to host today's session along with my colleague, Alyssa Martinez. Alyssa, I'm going to pass it off to you and then introduce our student co-hosts.
Great, thank you. So hello, everybody. My name is Alyssa Martinez. I am another assistant director of admission here at the college. I'm a proud first-gen graduate of the class of 2020, and I'm super excited to be talking to you all today and excited to introduce you to our fabulous panelists. So without further ado, feel free to introduce yourselves. I'll start with Nellie.
Hi everyone, my name is Sally. You can call me Nelly. I'm class of 2021, so I am a senior this year. I'm a double major in econ and Spanish on the pre-business track with finance.
Hi everyone, my name is Iska Tanveer. I'm class of 2024 and I'm hoping to major in biology. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. We are so pleased to have our student co-hosts here with us. Between Nelly and Aska, we have so much experience as their senior and first year students in our college community. I want just to say so that everyone is aware before we get going into our discussion that today's session does have closed captioning available. So please do take advantage of that by clicking the CC button on the bottom of your screen. At any time, we welcome questions utilizing the chat function. Please feel free to input any questions and we will get to them as soon as possible. I also want to invite everyone to check out our website to learn more about yesterday's webinar that was offered along with other ones that are upcoming. This will also be archived to our website afterwards. We invite you to check it out later if you would like to watch it again or to show it to someone who might find it interesting. So with that all being said, we're thrilled to share 4 main tips for first generation college goers. And we're so excited to encourage you as you begin your college journey. As we shared before, that everyone in this session here today are first generation college students. We have that experience that we're happy to share with you. So we're going to dive in with our first tip, starting right at the beginning with where you envision yourself and just thinking about the important things that you're thinking in a college environment. So give yourself the gift of time and start early. Give yourself the space to explore and really consider the important things that are really necessary for you in envisioning yourself as a student in the future. So think about the different sources of support and different places and people that can support you on your journey. So with that tip being thrown out in mind, I wanted to start off our discussion with Nelly. If you could share a little bit about how you began your college search and what resources you turned to, what sources of support were there for you when you were figuring out just how to navigate your college search.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't take after me. I think I started my search a little later than you should. I think that everyone here on this call is already ahead of me because my junior year I was definitely not looking at schools. I was more focused on the present. I didn't even know if I wanted to go to college, honestly. I didn't even know it was an option for me. So I think that when I got to my senior year and it kind of hit me like I need to know what I'm going to do after I graduate, I tried to find all the resources possible in my community specifically. So like I would reach out to my guidance counselors at school. They were one great resource. I would reach out to members of my own community, like people that I knew or people that I knew that they knew other people that graduated and kind of connect with them and see how their experience was in college and any recommendations or advice along the way. And I feel like your community is definitely a big resource. Like I would specifically go to the Boys and Girls Club, for example, and they would always connect me with people that I would have had no like business connecting with, you know. But I'd say the resources are limitless. Like you can always find a resource somewhere and in some place, you know, all you have to do is ask and look for it.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I think that brings us beautifully into our next tip, which is to investigate the different resources that are available, the information that is available and waiting for you to discover as a student. So of course that, includes informational packets and mailings and things that maybe your guidance counselor, other sources of support may have on hand. But these days, just as importantly, social media, getting involved with the college's websites, seeing what kind of dates they might share in terms of applications, things like that to keep in mind, can all help paint a picture of what you might need to do to prepare, and things to help you envision starting off on a strong foot as you begin submitting your applications. So with that in mind, I'm curious, I'd like to ask Aska now, as you were starting your college search, what were the important things to you in identifying the college communities you were interested in joining? What were the factors that really helped you identify your college shortlist and who you really wanted to apply to?
Yeah, so as I was going through this whole process, I was like considering different factors like location, school size. I didn't want to go to like a school that was too big. And although I applied to a few ones, but as I was deciding what college to go to after getting my decisions back, that was like one factor that I was considering. I had heard that big schools have like hundreds of students in one class, so that was something that I didn't want. I didn't want to get lost in those like large numbers. I wanted to have that interaction with my professors and build connections with them and the other students in my class as well. Also, I wanted to go to a school that was close to home, not out of state, because that was important to my family and also to me.
Yeah, awesome. All really, really important things to consider as you make your way through the college application process. And so that brings us to our next tip, which is to engage. And so engage as much as possible throughout this process. Attend virtual events like info sessions, webinars, and other programs that can really introduce you to different people and different resources within the school and the community. And don't be afraid to participate. Ask questions, ask what's on your mind, and if possible, schedule an interview. That's, I think, something that Holy Cross always encourages students to do. Just take advantage of every opportunity that you have to really learn more about the school. So, with that tip in mind, I'm going to pass it off to both of their panelists and kind of ask them different ways that they engaged throughout their college search process. So I know Nellie took advantage of the Passport program that we have here at Holy Cross, so she can talk to you a little bit about that. And Aska, definitely took advantage of info sessions and stuff like that. So I just would really love to hear both of you and what your experience was engaging in the college search process.
Yeah, I can go first. So Passport is basically a program that Holy Cross does for incoming freshmen who are from minoritized backgrounds or who are first-gen students. And so basically it was a great opportunity if you get invited to the program. I think it's only, I think my class was only like 30 to no more than 40 people. I would definitely recommend you join. It was over the summer. I think it was for 4 weeks. You basically take a course. So you either take a math course or an English course, wherever they feel that you need a little more help in. So since I'm an econ major, I love math. So I took an English course because I might need a little more help in that area. And it was just a great introduction into what the college life would be like. You spend a month on campus, you're taking classes, you're meeting professors. It's just a great start for someone who literally has no idea what college would look like and not having any family members to coach them along the way.
I can go now. So I try to attend like some visual information sessions to learn more about the colleges. One from Holy Cross was about financial aid, which was helpful and gave me like an idea of how the whole process works. Also, I participated in the college transition program. That was just for last year because of COVID. We weren't able to have a passport in person. So that was the program that I participated in, and it allowed me to build connections with the current HC students and learn more about different resources. And also I got an opportunity to participate in a mentor program, which is also another great resource. I think it definitely provided a lot of support to me, and I was able to learn from my mentor about different other resources that are available on campus.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think you both made such great points that there are so many resources available to you on a college campus, so many opportunities for growth and development, and to really just become the person you want to be over those 4 years. So something to, be mindful of as you go through this process, just kind of think of what are those things that I can take advantage of during my 4 years here. And so our next tip is advocate. You are your own biggest advocate, and you can absolutely make your way through this college process. It is all possible, and you have all the resources at your disposal. So don't be afraid to reach out to your counselor, to reach out to the admissions officer with questions. As an admissions counselor, I'm always so happy to field those questions for students and help them navigate that process and make it as, easy and just doable as possible. So you will get a lot of information thrown your way. So be sure you take notes along the way to help you remember everything you learn. And so once you kind of have everything down, you can then reference that and start to narrow down your list. And, I think the biggest piece of advice here is to just remember your goals and believe in yourself. This is a process. You can get through it, take it one step at a time. And so with that process of advocacy, or with that tip of advocacy, I want to ask our panelists, what's one piece of advice that they would offer every student here present as they begin to embark on this college search process? What is their biggest piece of advice?
I would say to be open-minded about the college process. Like, you're gonna have your preferences, and not all the schools will meet them. It just depends on who you are personally. For example, like Holy Cross was definitely not my first choice, but then I saw it, gave it an opportunity, and I absolutely loved it, and I couldn't imagine seeing myself anywhere else. So I would definitely say to be easy on yourself and be easy on the schools as well. Just allow the opportunity to explore different things, stuff that you normally would feel like it's out of your comfort zone.
I would say don't hesitate to reach out to people and ask for help, because like when I was applying to colleges, I had some questions about my financial aid stuff. I had submitted some documents that my colleges didn't receive, so I just reached out to them, called them to ask if they received or not, if they were still waiting. So yeah.
Well, I just wanted to jump in here, and I wanted to share that, with the focus on advocacy and thinking about, really setting yourself up for success. This kind of brings us to a perfect point where we had spoken a little bit about familiarizing yourself with certain levels of support, resources for first generation students on college campuses. And so we should certainly think about the specific resources of support here at College of the Holy Cross. And so the things that come into mind, first and foremost, is HC First. I'd like to ask our panelists if you could share a little bit about HC First, what it is, what kind of support it provides to students, and the experiences that you may have had with it.
Yeah, so we're actually on the HC First e-board. I'm the co-chair, and Aska is our first year intern this year. And so HC First is basically it's completely led by the students on campus. It's completely student run. And so we serve on campus to be a resource for other students who are first gen as well, and provide more of a community. So some things that we engage in is like events on campus. We provide resources such as like financial aid. Like if you ever have a question with your financial aid, like reach out to us, we'll be happy to help. We also host events where you can connect with the financial aid office and fill out your financial aid process with them. And so basically we just try and create a community within all of our first gen students on campus.
Yeah, as Nell said, HC First Scholars is an organization for first gen students to build community with other first gen students. I personally this year from HC First we didn't really have like a lot of meetings in the first semester, but I learned about the lending library from HC First, which was really helpful. I was able to borrow some books last semester and didn't have to like spend a lot of money on purchasing books.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think, you know, really adds to of having a positive experience here on campus as a first generation student is having that network of support. And so I think one question that all of our panelists would be curious to know is, what has your experience been like as a first generation student, and what's maybe something that, you know, if you could warn them about or tell them to do differently, like what is that one thing you would tell them to do?
I think my experience as a first gen on campus has definitely been amazing, more so because of HC First. So my freshman year, I wasn't in HC First, but it did serve as a big resource for me in terms of transitioning into the college life and learning the new ropes. One thing I would say that I would recommend to people is to look at their financial aid. So I stressed earlier financial aid because it is important. And I think as first gen, if you don't have parents who went to college and who know the process, then it should be something that you take under your wing and try to learn more about. So reach out to us, reach out to the financial aid office. Like sometimes a lot of people don't know this, but you can, if you don't want a loan, you can deny the loan, you know? So I think that you should consider that in the process if you don't see yourself wanting a loan in the long run. I just talk from personal experience, but again, like this encompasses all things that have to do with financial aid and the process of enrolling in school.
I'd say try to take advantage of all the resources available on campus for students to succeed. Like this year, I took advantage of STEM plus E and Bio Buddies since I want to be a bio major, and I took some bio classes. So Bio Buddies and STEM plus definitely helped me.
Thank you both for sharing. I just wanted to mention that we had a wonderful question come in from our audience. I wanted to thank this question. I wanted to highlight this question and thank the person who asked it because it's a really wonderful topic that I'm curious to hear both of your insight on. The question is college how you expected it to be, and were you prepared going into it as a first-gen college student? Do you feel that you were ready?
So my initial thoughts were college is going to be a lot harder than high school, which it is, but definitely everything is manageable, and you have to like plan out things and prioritize stuff accordingly. That's one thing.
I think the first thing I thought is like, are you ever really ready? You know, it's kind of one of those things where you have to just push yourself and just go for it. I think there's two like main factors that were nerve-wracking for me. It was the academic side, and then there was also like the social aspect. So I think that one thing you should be prepared for, and something that I maybe lacked my freshman year, was learning how to balance that. You want to know your community on campus. You want to make friends. You know, this is the people you're going to spend 4 years of your life with, you know, and some will even be like your lifelong best friends, you know. But you also want to finish off what you came here for, which is your academics. So I'd say definitely expect to find that balance between both academics and your social life.
Absolutely. And I think you both touched on kind of a big thing, which is getting involved in your community, but finding that academic balance. For those of you out there, all the panelists out there who are kind of hoping to learn more about how to get involved in the community, I kind of want to pass it off to Nellie and to Aska to tell us about how they got involved at Holy Cross and how they started to build that community, whether that be through HC First or the clubs and organizations that they're involved with. How did you kind of start to build your community here?
Yeah, so I was part of Passport. So all those friends that I made in Passport who I really identified with, we're still friends to this day. Like one of them is even my roommates right now. Like she's in the room. One of them is like on the couch right now. I also wanted, again, to get more involved. So that means like joining student-led organization. Like there's SPUD, there's another thing on campus where you're able to do community service at one of the local like nursing homes. There's HC First as well, of course. In my case, I was an econ major. So a great thing about Holy Cross is if you don't find your community, you can always build it. So my sophomore year, we built women in econ. So there's not a lot of women in economics who are majoring in economics. So we wanted to kind of build that community, and the people who are already in the community come together and kind of influence more women to join the major. So I'd say there's the options are limitless. If you don't find your community, you can always build it, you know?
As I said earlier, I'm participating in the mentor program, which allowed me to build great relationship with my mentor. She's a senior, and also I'm a part of AMSA. It's a pre-med club, and through that, I was able to build some good relationships with other students who are also interested in going to med school. So yeah.
No, that's amazing. I think it's great that you've both found ways to be able to build that community of support on campus and find ways to get involved and do things that you're interested in and just kind of realize how much is available to you at college. And so I really thank you both so much for sharing. I invite all of our participants to throw questions in the Q&A. Because we have two current students who have this range of experience who are just here to answer all of your questions. So don't be shy. We're more than happy to take any questions that you might have about what it's like to be a first-gen student, especially at a place like Holy Cross. So please, please, please don't be shy to ask those questions.
So I see that we've received another question that just came through, and thank you very much. This is very important. So without getting too much into detail and just kind of, acknowledging that finances are a very important part of the college process for you, your family, and it's something that's very personal. So it's important to keep that in mind as we throw out this question. What does it mean to deny a loan? And what does it mean to make decisions on your financial aid offer? Can we briefly touch upon that just a little bit more?
Yeah, so when I meant that, I was referring to thinking back to some of the people, some of like my own friends who didn't know that. So in speaking in broad terms, because again, not everyone's financial aid package will look the same. I don't know what your financial aid package would look like, but a lot of times when you get your financial aid packet from any school, it doesn't even have to be Holy Cross. Sometimes there will be loans embedded in it, and you might think that it will be part of your tuition. So I would say just consider that that's not money that they're giving you. That's money that you're going to have to pay back in the future. So if you have the money to pay it now, or if you just wouldn't want to take a loan out in general, I would say look into that, just to keep it on a broader scale.
Thank you so much for sharing that clarification. I think that's really important that we can speak about this openly and sharing this experience. Just appreciate you sharing a little more on that, and many thanks for that question, as I'm sure many people are also curious. We have one other question. I hope you don't mind that I want to share. This is a wonderful question. Aska, would you maybe take this first? Did you feel overwhelmed starting in college as a first-gen student, and how do you deal with that?
I definitely did because I'm a first-gen student. My parents didn't go to college, and I was kind of lost throughout this whole process. And sometimes I would be like so stressed out. But I definitely reached out to my guidance counselor and the teachers who were there to support me. And I would talk to my friends because that's like the big support system anyone could have. So yeah.
Yes, thank you for that. And we have our final question. I think this is the last question we have time to answer today. So thank you to whoever asked it. I think it's an important topic to kind of cover. And that is, did either of you feel imposter syndrome, either throughout the process or as a college student? And could you speak more to that experience?
Yeah, I'd say definitely all the time, even to this day. It's something that a lot of people I know still deal with. I think that the important thing is to recognize that you deserve to be here. Like, it wasn't by chance, you worked your butt off so you can be here, right? So you deserve it. So I wouldn't say think of yourself less, think of yourself as deserving, you know? Again, that's for everything you do. It's not just entering college. Like, I'm going into the finance industry now, and it's obviously predominantly men, white men. So I feel imposter syndrome all the time, even in like my work meetings, you know. Again, I have to remind myself that I'm here for a reason, you know.
Absolutely. And I think that's kind of a perfect note to end on. I think we're right at time. So I appreciate you bringing that up and kind of helping us end on that note. You are all so deserving to be here. We appreciate you being here, taking the time to learn more about Holy Cross and to just get some general tips and tricks for how to navigate this process. We hope it's been helpful to you. We've enjoyed it. And a big thank you to both of our panelists for sharing their experiences and being so open and honest. Thank you all so much, and we hope you have a great rest of your day.